Welcome to the channel and Empyrion Galactic Survival. Now this is a game that's been in early access for just over 2 years. It is a space survival game with a very strong building element, and I find it quite fascinating. I've had a break from playing it, and then back in August 2017, if you're watching this in the future, it was roughly about a month ago, I did a one-off video on the tutorial to showcase the 6.0 release, and my intention was to start an irregular series on the game. And what actually happened is the devs started doing beta releases for the 7.0 release, and it looked a very interesting release, but I didn't really want to commit myself to starting an irregular series on it, because I think we all know when you deal with early access games, when they do a major release, quite often the save game breaks. So what I did is I took the decision to wait until the 7.0 release came out in stable form. It's now available on Steam, and you can see they've actually done 2 hot fixes, so it's now 7.02. Now the format of this video is that I want to go through the release, and originally I tried to do it whilst actually playing the game and it didn't work. So what I'm going to do is read through the release notes at the beginning of this before I actually start the game. So apologies to you guys who are not interested. What I will do is I will put a timestamp in the video description for jumping forward to get into the gameplay, and also a link for the release notes. They are quite extensive. There's no way I can cut and paste them into the video description. The YouTube doesn't give me enough space to do that. So if you really want to see the real detail of the release, just follow the link there, guys. And before I actually start reading the release notes, a quick overview of the purpose of this irregular series. It's going to be a mixture of hints, tips, me discussing the game and gameplay, and also me exploring some more and more of the advanced concepts, because although I've played this game, I've never really been able to get into the construction side, and that's something I really want to do in this irregular series. So I think I'm just going to break now, guys, and we're just going to go straight to the release notes. Now there are quite a lot of them, so it's going to be more a case of me just reading through them, which is a bit unfortunate, but I can't think of any other way to do this. And so here goes, guys. So of course the top big change for this release is the fact they've now introduced new planetary terrains. They've added more realistic handmade terrains based on height maps and splat maps. Now the background to this is originally the game was all procedurally generated, and that did create some very flat terrain maps. Not complaining that it looked really good under the 6.0 release, but I think you will agree, guys, when you see the gameplay, that if you've played the game before, the terrain has been lifted even more. And for any of you guys who actually want to know what a splat map is, it's actually a method used by graphic designers to use 2 textures and merge them using a mask. If any of you guys ever use Photoshop, I think you will have a pretty good idea of how it works, where you use a mask on a layer to actually expose parts of a texture that's underneath. And I think I'm just going to leave it there. Now part of this feature for new terrains is they've extended the terrain height to 500 meters. They've also added a simple texture map editor, so that if you want to customize the map, you can do it. It's accessed via the console. And they've also improved the 3D map of the planet, and again I will demonstrate that once I actually get into the game. Now they have completely overhauled the mining mechanics, but I think what I will do is I will explain those once I actually get into the game. It's easier for you guys to see it rather than me actually just sit here and read about it. One thing I will say is something which I can't demonstrate straight away, is the fact that now auto miners now deplete resources. So there's no more free loading now based on the fact you put an auto miner down and it produces resources continuously from now on. Now moving on to the next part of the release, they've got better creative building tools. This is something I do want to explore as I get more and more advanced, because they've added a selection box for copy, paste and delete. They've also made it now possible to replace textures and colors on whole structures, so you can do a whole structure in one go. It's also possible to color and texture large areas in at once instead of block by block. I think that's going to be a vast improvement. And it's also possible now to rotate block textures. Moving on now in the same thread, they've now added 45 new textures. They've updated most of the existing textures. They've also used a technique called parallax occlusum mapping shader for building blocks. Basically, that very long title means that they've now introduced a 3D effect on textures on blocks. So the blocks do now look, when you look at them, there is a 3D effect. Now, the last part of this kind of overview of the release is a bit more nuts and bolts, and I'm just going to just read through it, and it comes under a broad title called template balancing. And just to kind of read it, says the templates have been rebalanced to motivate players to explore the galaxy. And I think what they're looking for is to expand the mid to late game, because one of the drawbacks of the game prior to this release was the fact that you could get everything and do a lot in the early game, and then you kind of ran out of motivation to go out and explore and do things. And for this end, they've now updated all the crafting templates. Some of the elements that you can craft have now been renamed. Biofuel is now made from rotted food, but rotted food can also be made from seaweed, if any of you guys were fans of spending hours underwater gathering seaweed. And it can also be used as an alternative fuel for base and ships. And it says some objects have also moved later in the tech trees. This comes back to adding more depth to the game and a bit more of a mid-game challenge. That's therefore you can't get some key elements you could now have been moved for further up the tech tree. They've also introduced a short distance warp drive for small vessels, so there's now 2 warp drives there. So again, the idea is to encourage you to build a small vessel to explore the local system, and then a capital ship can then go out to use to explore the wider universe. And they've also now introduced armored concrete blocks for base building. Ammo now uses Promethium instead of magnesium, and energy cells require Promethium. So what they've actually done is the cobalt and the magnesium, which was used to be part of what you could collect on your starter planet, has now been moved off, although there is a way to get cobalt, which I will talk about once we actually get into the game. Now, they've also balanced handheld weapons, and the range has been reduced and equalized. Plasma and laser weapons ignore atmospheric density. They've added bullet spread to most weapons, but this can be mitigated by using a sniper scope. So effectively what they're saying now is that if you shoot at long distance, there's a chance the bullets will spread and you have a degree of inaccuracy. They've now taken away the ability to repair and upgrade epic weapons. Again, the idea is so that you revisit older weapons in there, rather than just having your favourite weapon which you then play for the rest of the game. Shotguns are now more devastating at short range, so that's quite good, but are less effective at maximum range. So effectively, shotguns now become a very close-in weapon, which is a bit like what they are in real life in a combat situation. And there are now separate constructors for small vehicles and hover vehicles. They also say now that blueprints can only be spawned under conditions where there's enough space. What this is implying now is that you can't just build vessels anywhere you want. You've now got to have a platform to build them on, and this is kind of leading into the concept of a space dock for building capital ships, so you can understand where that's coming from. I think that covers all the top level of the release. As I said, there's a lot more to it, a lot more detail, guys. If you're really interested, follow the link in the video description and enjoy it. I must admit, it took me best part of a day to go through the release notes in detail, and they are a bit complicated, especially if you start following the sublinks to some of the more detailed descriptions. Right guys, what I'm going to do now is just give a quick run through these options here for anyone who's new to the game or just looking out of curiosity. Now, player setup is a very simple interface. They may improve it later on, which kind of allows you to define your avatar, when you can go hero or average and skinny. It looks very basic, but be aware that Empyrion is very much a first-person game, so you don't see your avatar very much. So it's not that big an issue. Now, what I would say if you're new to the game is, unless you've got a friend who's prepared to teach you the game, play single player first, get the hang of the game before going into multiplayer. Obviously, I'm recording this, so I'm going to be sticking with single player, simply because multiplayer interactions can be a bit difficult when you're trying to record. I've tried it in the past and it just hasn't worked on other games. And what we're going to do is we're going to go in here. Now, this just takes you into the standard tutorial, and this takes you into this screen here. There's a lot of information here which can be a bit daunting if you don't know the game, but what you can do, if you haven't selected the tutorial on the outside, you can actually flip through these options. This is the multiplayer start. You've also got predefined scenarios, although I would recommend if you're new to the game that you actually play the tutorial or just play the single player game for a little bit to start with. And a lot of these scenarios actually come from the game community, and this is a variation of the tutorial. So if you've played the game before and you just want to catch up with the changes like I did back in August, you can play the tutorial with a slightly harder setting and just experience it that way. And of course what I'm going to do is actually play here, and I think what we're going to do is call this iReg Series 2, so that I actually know what my save game is. And you can choose between survival and creative. To be honest, creative is only really useful if you want to experiment with builds, because you have unlimited resources. Obviously survival's the game. You've got a seed here which you can randomize, or you can type your own in. I think I would just choose one. Difficulty setting, I've actually done a custom version which is medium, but what I've actually done is I've bumped the constructor craft speed to fast and blueprint production speed to fast. That's purely for video recording purposes, because obviously there will be periods where I'm building things and I want to get that through as quickly as possible. Of course we're going to start on Aku. I mean, you can choose other planets, Omicron as well, but I'm just going to stick with Aku, simply because I want to explain game concepts as I go through, and I don't want to be too much focused on survival, because I do want to talk about bits and pieces. You can see down here the resources available: iron, copper, silicon and promethium. The cobalt and magnesium has now disappeared, so these are your 4 base elements, and you can see the planet's got oxygen on it. And I think this is where we're going to do is we're just going to start in here. So here we are, guys, we're crashing on the planet, and what you can do is look round to see what's available, what's around. We've got a crash shuttle there, but what I want to do is kind of crash a little bit away from it, simply because I want to gather resources and get a bit of experience on the way forward. If we aim for there, there's some actually outcrops of stone there, so don't be paranoid about getting next to where your new base will be. Take advantage of being able to walk. And we've actually crashed, and of course what we need to do is grab everything from the escape pod, because as you see here, it only stays around for about a minute. And of course what we're going to need to do is kit ourselves up. Oh, and I've still got my oxygen helmet on. Get the drill, antidote pills, because we're bound to make ourselves sick, because eating raw veg and stuff on this planet is actually, and that can go down here. Put this here. We've got a lot more biofuel just to get. Just going to leave that up there. That can come down there. Emergency rations. Just leave them there. I like to keep the emergency rations exactly what they are. Emergencies. And I think that could go in for the store. Press U, take our helmet off. And what I want to do is, first job really is, you don't really need to rush to the base. What you need to do is gain some experience quite quickly. Of course the other thing you also need to do is load your weapons. Because you definitely need to reload there. And of course we're gonna we need to set the drill mode. And we got some silicon, and we got some copper, and I think what we're going to do now is work our way back towards the shuttle and see if we can grab anything on the way through, like some berries, anything that's of use. Of course the more you collect, the faster you gain in the form of experience. There's a rock over there. Now these creatures generally remain friendly. The only one that becomes immediately hostile are spiders, but you only see those near forests and at night. So we got some more copper, that's good. And we got some copper ore deposits there, and there's some more stone over here. What I want to do is grab as much of this stone on the way through, because what I want to do is make a motorbike as quickly as possible. And we got some silicon iron. Yeah, what I want is a motorbike so that I can get mobile. So one, we can do some exploration. I mean, I think when you actually play this game, you've got to decide on what you're actually going to do. Oh, we didn't get anything for that. Is whether you're going to go the building route or the exploration route, or a mixture of the two. Actually, I mean, you don't have to stick with one or the other, but you do need to get up and running pretty quickly. And being mobile is quite useful. So I say, what I want to do is get a bike so I can get out and explore and gather the necessary mining resources. And got some more copper ore. How much copper ore have we got? Got a bit of iron, a bit of copper, crushed stone, got copper, silicon, iron. Actually, we got a lot. The only thing we haven't got is Promethium. What we do have, how far is it to that base? Shuttle, 284 meters. Well, that's not that far. Okay. These are the natives. If you leave them alone. Oh no, they're raptors. Sorry, not natives. I'm getting a bit there. Again, when raptors are in a herd, you're okay. It's when they're individual ones, quite often at night, they can be a problem. And I think what we can do is just keep gathering these resources here. No, didn't get anything for that one. I think we should be able to get, yeah, we get some more Aku berries here. I think they're called Akka berries. I'm gonna grab that. Certainly piling up the experience. Again, that's quite important when you're first starting out, is you try and get as much experience as quickly as possible by collecting things and doing things, because that's how you do gain experience. No, still didn't get anything for that either, because you want to get to level 3 as quickly as possible, because that means you can actually unlock various technologies and other elements there. So we can actually grab the berries. Actually saw the berries there, don't often see them. And I think there's some rocks over there. I think I'm going to go over and see if I can grab that and grab these in the process as well. Grab that right through the middle. If we can get anything out of this rock here. So that's good. We got 10 copper, 10 iron. So we're one area we seem to be a bit short on, it's silica. A lot of creatures hanging around the base, that could be useful, but at the same time, with a pistol, killing creatures with a pistol can be a little bit risky, especially big ones like that. Is that a triceratops, isn't it? It's got 3 horns or 2 horns, I can't quite see from here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's a triceratops. It's based on a triceratops. Yeah, it's got like a nose horn and 2 big horns. And I think what we'll do is come this way, just grab this one here. Oh, I've got the hints on. I'm going to leave them on there, guys, so that you can read them. So it's all the things that I forget to talk about while I'm running around being stressed. And this is our base. We've got a crash shuttle. And now when you start the game, based on the seed, these can be totally random. Actually, is there that creature up there or a rock? Let's have a look. These are babies. Again, they won't do you any harm. I think I need to switch the jetpack on. jetpack icon in the bottom left there. That's got a little bit of silicon, that's quite useful. And if I put my helmet on, you'll see the helmet appear, and the O2 means that we've got oxygen. I'm not too sure what the symbol next to it is. You can see that it lists down in the bottom left there, you get health, food, stamina and oxygen. And in the course of the top right, you've got your radar, and the 5:52 is how long before the sun sets. And this is a base, and over here we got some growing capabilities. And it's going to go in. Of course, we're going to press Y to click. Should be able to press Y. Oh, now we've got to power it first. Sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. If you right click, you can split this in half and drop some in there. And now we should be able to claim the base. Okay. And of course we've got a fridge here, and I think what I'm going to do is split the aku berries. Actually, I'm going to put some aku berries down there to eat. I'm just going to put them all down there. I think we'll put the honey in here, and this is, see, food and some items actually have a perish date, so you need to put them there. And of course up in the corner here we've got the anniversary cake, because the game is 2 years into early access. So as you can see there, happy 2nd anniversary for Empyrion. This cake will only be available for a short time. It heals as much as a large med kit, so that could be quite useful. And of course what we do need now is to drop this in, because I need to build the survival constructor. And I'm not going to put any plants down just yet, because until I've got a nice constant power supply. And I just want to have a quick look round, because I do want to actually extend the base for my large constructor. I think we're probably going to come out this way, so I think what I will do is put the survival constructor here. Now the survival constructor does not take power, so if you want to save power you can switch the power off in the base, and what you can do is shift, and that will put all this in here. And of course what I'm going to do is, what we need is a motorbike template, so we need motors, nanotubes, steel plates. So only got a little bit of iron ore. I think maybe we're just gonna count that. We got no Promethium at the moment. Also got to switch this on, and I'm just gonna leave that, and if there's any Promethium nearby, yeah, 129 meters. I'm going to just go out and mine the Promethium, and that will allow me to demonstrate how mining goes in this game with the changes with the update. And of course we've got another rock to play with, so we might as well grab the rock on the way through. And we've got some crushed ore or copper. Yeah, so with the Promethium here we're actually demonstrate what we're doing. And of course this hasn't changed. You walk towards it and you'll see here, and as you get closer, and what you should get now is, you should see blue circles on the ground. There they are, if you can see them. If I actually clear the vegetation away, see the blue circles, and that's the 3D objects which are underground. Now if you're new to mining in Empyrion, guys, when you're mining by hand like this, don't dig yourself down so deep that you can't get out. You can jetpack back up, but even the jetpack has limits. So what you want to do is kind of create a fairly large pit, and with this new mining system it's very tempted to just go here and get target fixation on here and just keep drilling down, because sometimes you've got to go quite deep, and that can cause problems, because if you keep digging down deeper and deeper to get this, that doesn't take long before you've actually started to get so deep into the ground that you cannot actually get out again. And the other thing also is, this is for a multiplayer context, guys, that if you're sharing a planet with other people, be considerate, don't dig deep shafts that other people can get themselves trapped in. You know, just spread the load out a little bit. Now, since release 6.0, you do get a lot more biofuel to start with than you used to do as well, so you can afford to be a bit more extravagant with the mining. And we'll just keep pushing down here. And it does take time. I'm not sure. Some people, I've seen someone say that they speeded the mining up, but it's still a bit of a tedious process. The positive side, they seem, I don't know if it's a bug, because it's not actually mentioned in the release notes, but this T1 drill now, you don't have to pick the materials up anymore. You know, you just keep bashing away at it, and you get, as you hit the resources, it actually comes out this way. So you're just going to keep going down. We're actually starting to get a little bit deep now. Actually, I think what I will do is show you guys another way to mine, and I think I'm just going to go up on the surface. This is probably going to be my preferred way of mining in the future. Press S5, you get your personal drone, and you can come in here, and if you press O, it seems to stabilize it. And what you can do now is drill the drone. So what you can do is just keep whacking through with the drone here. Now, one thing I will say, guys, if you've got a slightly sensitive vision, I do suffer from this actually a little bit, that mining with the drone can make you feel a bit queasy with it flipping about like this. See, it can be a bit disturbing, but you can keep it fairly stable with a bit of attention to detail. Oh, so we've already gone through one set of fuel. Wow. We can gather loads of berries and let them rot to get the biofuel. You can see now, see the Promethium being exposed. And if I think of it a little bit here, you can see there's quite a big wad of Promethium here. And there's a bit more up there. You see we gave him quite a lot of it. I say Promethium's now used for ammunition as well as power, so you need to probably grab as much as you can. Maybe we'll just get this watch here. There we are. And we've got another 65. Looks like there's a bit more here. Just grab this. Yeah, just grab that. Got another 67. You can see I've now dug quite a deep tunnel. I've got to find my way out now. Actually see how deep I've actually got down now. That's a potential trap for a thing. I mean, I didn't really need to bring the drone out, but I just wanted to show you. And you can see here, anyway. And we've got a nice big watch. Yeah, we've got 354 Promethium. We've got some iron ore, a bit more. So we're looking good there, guys. And we're okay for food at the moment. So we're just going to wander back and make some power cells, power the base up nice and strongly, get it as fully charged as possible, and then that means I can actually start growing a few things as well. So go back to the survival constructor. There we are. Of course we're and carver beans. So those, make about 40 of those, and actually let's make the 110 of those. I like my power cells. And what I also want now is the motorbike construction kit. I think we can start piling that in. We need some steel plates. I'll make 2 of those. I don't think. Now, steel plates are the basis of all sorts of stuff. A couple of optical fibres. Of course, we're going to need other bits there. So, got some nanotubes. What does that say? nanotube, and then of course we've got to make a motor which requires 2 more steel plates, 3, so we can keep adding to the steel plates, and some more nanotubes. That should be there, and actually nanotubes, so let's actually let's whack in, let's get about 14 steel plates. We're going to use them anyway, so, and got some electronics, and the motor requires electronics as well, so we'll get 2 of those, and motor, we need some more steel plates. We've got plenty of that. Maybe let's do 10 nanotubes as well, and a motor on the end, and that should be it, I think. I'm not brilliant at this, guys, so, and while that's actually building, I think what I can do now is actually, what we got here, we've got an ammo locker, we've got here, we've got minigun rounds and sniper rifle rounds. Well, we don't actually have anything there. There's no point picking them up and clogging my inventory up. We might as well just leave them there for the moment. Actually, if I've got anything else in here, let's just have a quick look. Because sometimes it can be quite difficult to actually find the various bits in the devices. So we got cargo box. Oh, we'll take that. Certainly use that. That would be quite useful. And just going to check what's the power like. Main got 4% power, so I think what we can do now is get the farm up and running, because I've got the Promethium. Make sure that's green. The reason is, I think I might have already mentioned this, is that if the power runs out and that light goes off, plants will actually die. So you really want to, I think that could go into there, and I think we'll get a tomato plant, and what can we get here? Durian sprout. Okay, well, maybe we'll go with that, and we'll just go and plant this stuff over here. Get this up and running, and that should grow quite well. Once we've got the power, go back and check the power situation's like. We haven't quite got there yet. Let's have a quick look at the tech tree. And we're still level 2. We really need to get a bit more experience, so I think I'll just go have a wander around, see if I can gather some more stuff. You can shoot animals to gain experience, but with the pistol it can be a little bit risky. And I think we've gathered most of this stuff in this area. I don't think there's much else I can gather around here. But this might have actually regenerated. I mean, this is one thing you can do, is patrol the local area and just keep going there. And we've reached level 3, which is exactly what I wanted to get to, because obviously I want to unlock a few things. Here we go. Actually, we got a bit of and eat a little bit. Actually, nothing. 3 and oops, no. Go this way. See if we can. Power cells should be ready to go by now. We should have at least some power cells to drop into our. Yep. Still making them. Lots and lots of power cells. Lots of things actually coming together. And again, I don't know why I keep doing this. It's habit, I think. And now, quick tip, guys: do not use fill ore, or if you do, make sure you don't have any biofuel in your inventory, because if you click that, I actually got caught on this, guys. If you click that, it will not only just consume all your power cells, it will also consume all your biofuel. And that, so yeah, we've got plenty more power cells coming, still being produced, so that's it. That gives us 69%, and I think I can now Tech tree, what am I after? I don't need that. What I really need is a multi-tool because I want to do some building. Unlock the multi-tool. Don't need the ore scanner. Don't need, this is the texture symbol tool. Weapons. Certainly would like the shotgun and the assault rifle. Unlock that. I mean, I've got a few more points here. Miscellaneous. Cargo box. I certainly want that because we want to be able to store stuff. Oxygen generator. How much is that? That's 2 points. That will allow us to start building up an oxygen supply, but do I actually need it now? Base, anything else? The O2 station. I mean, obviously they've changed stuff here. I mean, sentry gun could be quite useful. Maybe I'll just hang on to the points at the moment because it's going to take a little while to accumulate stuff. Of course, we've got lots and lots of tech here. Gatling guns for building ships and stuff like that. Hover vessels. Mobile constructor, generator, O2, Gatling gun. Got lots of stuff here. A small ammo box. Yeah, could be useful, but we've already got an ammo box, so we don't need another one just yet. Tools, multi-tools, or scanner. Portable work light, that could be useful. And I think that's about it, guys. I think I'm going to hang on to the extra points here. Explosive device, wow. So we've now unlocked the key weapons, because basically what I want is a shotgun and an assault rifle. Just for the fun of it, actually. Okay, is this still... It's actually finished. Is it still working? Oh, it's going. Okay. That's where... I think that can just sit in there. It's still banging out the plates. Wow. Okay. I think I'm going to cancel that power off. I don't think I need any more of this. I think 70 steel plates is more than enough. Sometimes I get a bit carried away with this. Nanotubes and electronics. So I think what we can do is drop that in. That should actually build it now. And watch that, because I don't actually know what to talk about. I mean, this is one of the reasons why I kind of made everything a bit faster at the moment. And of course, we could watch the sunset. I mean, as I say, the graphics are really incredible now. See here. Wow, we actually mined out 42% of that Promethium deposit. That was quick. Let's have a quick look at the 3D map. It says we got 7 more iron deposits, 5 copper, 8 Promethium. That's not too bad. But of course, there's no points of interest at the moment, so we're going to need to get out with the bike and explore. Now, again, I'm not too sure whether I'm actually going to build a hovercraft, or what I could do is use a blueprint here. And we've got this one here, this tier 1 or tier 2. The trouble with that is I need to get to a level 5 to build that, and that requires quite a lot of resources, including raw plastic, where this one doesn't need much. It's quite a simple craft, but I'm going to consider what I actually need to do. Put the light on so I can actually see what I'm doing. But of course, the one thing I'm actually going to need to do, actually, let's see if I've got the resources for it. Because my bike, oh, the bike's being built. A motor short, okay. Get a construction kit in, and so we can get a bike. But the other thing I also want to build is this. I don't know if we've actually got enough for this. Okay, let's build that, and then we'll have a look at this. Need 2 computers, 10 mechanical components. Okay, how many mechanical components can we get? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we need 10 components, 2 computers, optical. Computers, we need optical fiber and electronics, so we need a couple of there, and we need 1, 2, 4 of those, and push that That should make 2 computers. That actually works. And sorry, I'm kind of doing this in a bit of a icky way, guys. I mean, I should really write these formulas down. And we need 6 nanotubes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And 2 motors. We need 4 optical fibers. Okay. And we can now build a large construction. And I'm a bit aware of the time, and I don't really want to embark on anything major now, because actually what I do need is multi-tool. I make a mistake here, guys. We need a multi-tool. Okay, can I make a multi-tool? Right, tools. I might have built this the wrong way round, and this could be embarrassing. Shotgun, so I can make a shotgun. I've got 5 mechanical components, but what I do want is the multi-tool. So we're going to make a multi-tool and a shotgun. I need Promethium in pellets. Okay. Let's make some shotgun ammunition. Some Promethium pellets, and of course we've got the bike. Get into there. We got the large constructor, which can go into there. We've got the multi-tool. I think that can go there, actually, and that can go there. And then we've got the shotgun drill. Go there. And shotgun, but of course above all I need some ammunition. I think maybe we'll go with that. So we've got a large constructor. What we don't have is cement and concrete blocks. Bit of a pain in the neck. And what I need now is steel blocks, concrete blocks, and cement, which means we need stone dust. Okay, let's add that. Make some stone dust and some cement, because then we will then be able to make steel blocks, artificial mass, concrete blocks. Put in a pile of concrete blocks, and I think this is where I'm going to consider winding things up, guys, while that stuff is building. As I say, in the next part we'll probably go out and do a bit more exploring, maybe get some more elements, and I'll have the multi-tool kitted up. As I say, I've got all the stuff along the bottom here to show you the here. Shotgun. And disassemble, and of course we can come here for deconstruct. So we got our multi-tool and a shotgun, which hopefully once we get some ammunition for. Yeah, we got that much in the way of ammunition. We have to get a bit more, but that should be enough to reload the shotgun. It's only 5 shots anyway. And of course we're... Ow! I've got a new toy, and this is where I think I'm going to leave it, guys, for this part. I've covered a lot of ground. Say our plants are growing quite happily here. Got our base operating. Let's just see here, we've got some alien honey and some aku berries. And we've got, actually that can go into the vault. The Venerian root is poisonous. I think we can actually do is go and put the Venerian root in here. so that we don't actually waste it, and maybe we'll put the alien honey in as well. That carver beans can probably go in over here. And so we've got 2 sets of carver beans. Hopefully this will rot. We got some magnesium power, some cobalt ingots. That's good. So we can go and put that. Do I actually need that? Well, we can put it in the constructor so I know where it is. And this is knocking out all the concrete blocks. So I think we're looking good here. We've got quite a lot of resources. We're a bit low. Well, I'm obviously turning all my crushed stone into this, and then I'm turning this into cement, and I'm actually making concrete blocks. And I think maybe we will. Don't actually have that much in the way of ammunition. I was expecting a little bit more than that. Maybe we're going to have to make some more ammunition, but I will do that off camera, guys. But I think this is where I'm going to leave it. As I say, in the next part we will build up our base a little bit and get in the advanced constructor here so that we can build some more stuff, and then we'll be ready to go and start exploring and developing the base. But I think this is where I'm going to leave it, guys. Hope you've enjoyed the episode, hope you found it interesting, and until next time, whatever you do, enjoy your gaming.